The alien scout ship drifted quietly over the dead battlefield, its engines humming like a distant storm. Inside the command chamber stood Commander Vaylor, a tall, silver-skinned officer from the Zyrak Empire. His eyes moved slowly across the holographic screen where strange red dots pulsed. Those red dots were human life signs. Vaylor frowned. The battlefield below was supposed to be empty. The war here had ended weeks ago. No species remained, no machines, no movement, no heat signatures. Except humans. He felt a strange pressure inside his chest, something he rarely felt. Fear. Vaylor had studied the military records of many species. Every army, every race, every soldier always sent detailed reports after battle. It was tradition. It was duty. But whenever the archives mentioned humans, there was silence. Not short reports. Not incomplete files. Not damaged recordings. Just nothing. Commanders who survived fighting humans either disappeared, retired early, or refused to speak. Some even destroyed their own logs. Vaylor never understood why. Until now. He leaned closer to the screen. The humans were moving, slowly. Too slowly. Their life signs were steady, but their positions were strange. They weren't marching or retreating. They weren't even hiding. They were waiting. Why do they not move as normal soldiers? Vaylor whispered to himself. His second officer, Rytha, stepped beside him. Commander, I advise we maintain distance. Many alien fleets before us have avoided direct contact with humans. I know, Vaylor replied. But I must understand why. Why the silence? Why the fear? Why the missing reports? He took a deep breath and gave an order that made Rytha's eyes widen. Prepare landing. The scout ship descended through the gray clouds and touched the ground with a soft thud. Dust rose around the landing gear. The metal ramp opened slowly, and Vaylor stepped out with two guards, their armor shining in the weak sunlight. The battlefield stretched before him, a wide field of burned soil, broken metal, and shattered stone. But there was something else. It was too quiet. There were no birds, no wind, no crackling of damaged wires. Just a heavy silence pressing against his ears. Vaylor activated his handheld scanner. Blue light washed over the area. The scanner beeped. Human life signs. 4. Distance, close. Movement, slow, controlled, deliberate. Vaylor narrowed his eyes. Humans were not hiding from him. Humans were letting him come closer. It was not a mistake. It was a trap. He stepped carefully over broken ground. Smoke rose from ruined walls. Something about the place felt wrong, like the battlefield itself was watching him. Then his scanner changed tone, sharp, urgent. Vaylor froze. The humans were no longer far. They were behind him. A small tremor ran through his arms. He turned slowly. No one was there. His guards aimed their rifles into the silent air. Their armor plates clicked lightly as they shifted their stance. Commander, movement detected behind us, one guard said. I know, Vaylor whispered. Alien commanders had always spoken of strange feelings before meeting humans. Feelings they could not explain, like eyes watching from the shadows, like pressure in the air. Vaylor finally understood those stories. Another beep. Another red dot appeared on the scanner. Very close. Less than 10 meters. But nothing moved on the ground. No branches cracked. No stones shifted. It was as if the humans walked without sound. Vaylor stepped backward. His breath became slow and shallow. The silence was unbearable. And then, crack. A tiny sound behind him. Human boots on broken stone. Vaylor felt the cold air touch the back of his neck. He slowly turned his head. A figure stood there, armor dark, helmet scratched, rifle held low but ready. The human stood tall, calm, steady. The sunlight reflected off the visor, hiding the face behind it. For the first time in many years, Vaylor felt true fear rise from his stomach to his throat. Humans were supposed to be loud, emotional, chaotic. But this one was silent. Too silent. The human took one step forward. Vaylor's guards pointed their weapons at the figure. Their hands trembled slightly, though they tried to hide it. The human didn't lift his weapon, didn't rush, didn't shout. He just spoke. A low, quiet voice that felt like a blade sliding across the battlefield. You should have stayed in the ship. Vaylor's heart hammered inside his chest. Now he understood why alien commanders never reported back. Now he understood why files ended in silence. Now he understood why their memories broke, why their voices failed. Humans did not fight like other species. They hunted. The human soldier stepped closer, and behind him, 3 more shadows appeared. His squad, moving with the same deadly calm. Vaylor realized the truth. He was not studying humans. Humans were studying him. The battlefield remained silent as the human squad spread out. The unexpected war had begun. The 4 humans stepped into the open field like shadows taking form. Their armor was worn, scratched, and covered with dust from the old battle. Their movements were calm, precise, confident. Too confident for a squad standing against an armed alien commander and 2 guards. Commander Vaylor raised a hand, silently signaling his guards to hold their fire. He did not want to make the first mistake. The lead human stopped only a few steps away. His visor stayed down, hiding his eyes. His voice carried across the silent battlefield again, low and controlled. "Put your weapons down." Slowly. Vaylor's guards growled in disbelief. "Commander, permission to fire," one guard shouted. "No," Vaylor hissed without looking away from the humans. The humans did not act like outnumbered soldiers. They acted like predators. Vaylor noticed something odd. Their rifles were not even raised. They were not aiming. They were simply watching. As if the aliens were already in checkmate. The human leader tilted his head slightly. "You stepped onto human ground without knowing the rules." "What rules?" Vaylor asked, forcing strength into his voice. The human's answer was cold. "Survive if you can." A chill ran through Vaylor's bones. The second human moved first. Not aggressively. Not loudly. Just one quiet step to the left. Then another soldier shifted right. The third crouched. The fourth took a position behind a broken wall. In seconds, the humans formed a formation Vaylor had never seen before. A perfect kill triangle. His 2 guards realized it at the same moment. "Commander, they're surrounding us." "No," Vaylor whispered. "They already surrounded us the moment they appeared." Then everything happened at once. A small clicking sound echoed behind Vaylor's left guard. The guard turned just in time to see a metal device at his feet. Boom. Not an explosion. A flash grenade. Blinding white light filled the air. The guards stumbled, rifles dropping from their hands. Vaylor shielded his eyes with his arm, teeth clenched from the shock. When the light faded, the humans had moved. Fast. Too fast. One human was behind Vaylor now. Another stood on the broken jet engine nearby, giving him high ground. The third had taken the guard's rifle and tossed it aside like trash. And the leader? The leader stood right in front of Vaylor, close enough to touch, visor almost touching Vaylor's face. Vaylor swallowed hard. Humans were supposed to be loud creatures. Always shouting in their battles. Always making noise. But these soldiers, they were silent. Silent like death. "What do you want?" Vaylor managed to ask. "Information," the human leader replied. "Your empire keeps sending scouts. They vanish. They go silent. We want to know why you keep coming." "Because," Vaylor felt his throat tighten. "Because no one returns with answers." The human's visor reflected Vaylor's trembling eyes. "That's because they see things they cannot explain." Vaylor took a shaky breath. "Explain it to me." For a moment, nobody moved. The wind didn't blow. The dust didn't rise. The world seemed to wait for the human's answer. Finally, the leader spoke. "Humans don't fight for orders. We don't fight for glory. We fight for each other. That makes us something no alien commander understands." Vaylor felt an invisible weight settle on his shoulders. The human continued, voice lower. "Aliens fight with fear. Humans fight with purpose. That is why reports stop. Words cannot describe us." Behind them, the other humans remained perfectly focused, scanning the field, watching every angle. Vaylor saw something in these soldiers he had never seen in any species. Not just skill. Not just training. A burning, dangerous will that refused to break. Vaylor's guards recovered from the flash and lifted their rifles again. "Commander, we must retreat. These humans..." The human leader raised a hand before Vaylor could respond. "No one leaves," he said quietly. "Not yet." Vaylor's heartbeat thundered in his chest. "What do you plan to do with us?" he demanded. "Nothing," the human replied. "Unless your empire attacks us again." "Why would we?" Vaylor asked. The human leaned in. "Because your empire does not understand fear." Vaylor felt his skin grow cold. The soldier stepped back and pointed his rifle toward the sky. At first, Vaylor didn't understand. Then his wrist communicator beeped. A message from his fleet. His blood ran cold as he read the translation. "Commander Vaylor, you are too close to human forces. Protocol Alpha, terminate. Stand by for orbital strike." His own fleet was going to fire on him. The ground trembled. A faint rumble grew louder. The humans heard it too. The leader's voice hardened. "Your fleet chose war." "No," Vaylor whispered. They chose fear. A distant light flashed in the clouds. An orbital cannon charging. Vaylor's guards panicked. Commander, we must run. But Vaylor didn't move. He looked at the humans. And for the first time in his life, he understood the silence of the alien archives. Not fear of humans' weapons. Not fear of humans' power. Fear of what humans could become in war. The human leader took a step forward. Stay behind us, he said. If you want to live. Vaylor stared, confused. Why would you save me? The human squad spread out, taking defensive positions as the orbital strike charged overhead. The leader answered without turning around. Because you are not our enemy. Not yet. The sky split open with burning light. And the unexpected war truly began. The sky cracked open with a violent flash. A beam of burning white light tore through the clouds above, coming straight down toward the battlefield. Commander Vaylor had seen orbital strikes before. They were fast, brutal, and impossible to survive. His own fleet was firing on him. Dust started swirling at his feet as the ground shook. The humans reacted instantly. No panic. No shouting. Just calm, fast movement. Move, the human leader commanded. Two humans grabbed Vaylor by his arms and pulled him behind a half-collapsed bunker. The thick metal walls shook as the beam's hum grew louder. Vaylor's guards stumbled after them, fear turning their eyes wide. They had trained for years, but nothing prepared them for being abandoned by their own fleet. The human leader slid behind a rock and lifted a small device to the sky. It buzzed with a deep, pulsing sound. Vaylor recognized it. A counter-strike disruptor. Illegal in many galaxies. Deadly if used close range. Your disruptor won't stop an orbital cannon. Vaylor shouted. It won't, the human replied. But it will make them miss. The beam hit. For a moment, the world turned into white fire. A shockwave roared across the battlefield. Stones flew like bullets. Metal shards blasted through the air. Vaylor felt the heat like a furnace on his skin, and then the pressure slammed him into the wall. Silence followed. A heavy, unnatural silence. Smoke drifted through the ruins. The beam had missed Vaylor's position by only a few meters. A crater the size of a building burned in the ground. Vaylor's guards trembled. One whispered, "We should be dead." The human leader stood slowly, checking the sky. "No," he said. "Now the real fight begins." Vaylor forced himself to stand as well. His legs felt weak. "My fleet will fire again," he said. "They always fire twice to confirm destruction." "They won't get the chance," the human leader said. "Your fleet has already made a big mistake." "And what is that?" Vaylor asked. The human's visor turned toward him. "They assume we are trapped." Before Vaylor could respond, one of the human soldiers, Nova, a short woman with a calm voice, spoke into her helmet comms. "Signal locked. Enemy fleet located." Another human, Mason, pressed a button on his wrist pad. "We're ready. Just give the order." Vaylor's heart skipped. "Ready for what?" he asked. The leader didn't answer with words. He pointed toward the sky. Vaylor followed his gesture. The clouds twisted unnaturally. A dark shape emerged, growing larger, wider, and more menacing with each passing second. A ship. But not a human ship. Not a Zyrak ship. Something else. It sliced through the clouds like a shadow made of metal. Its hull was black and ribbed, with glowing blue lines across its sides. Vaylor's jaw dropped. You brought a battleship?" The leader shook his head. "No. That's not a battleship." The ship's underside opened, revealing rows of glowing charges. "It's a message." The ship fired a series of electromagnetic pulses into the sky. They didn't strike the Zyrak fleet. They wrapped around it, forming a net of blue energy. Vaylor had never seen such technology. What is this?" The human leader finally spoke. "A reminder that humans are not as alone as your empire thinks." Vaylor tried to understand. "Whose ship is that?" "A human-aligned faction," Nova answered. "They've been watching your empire's movements for months. We knew this day would come." Vaylor felt a strange shock inside his chest. "You knew we would attack?" "No," the leader answered. "We knew your command would panic." "There's a difference." The blue net tightened around the Zyrak fleet. Alarms echoed from Vaylor's wrist pad. His fleet was calling him, thousands of emergency signals. Shouting captains. Confused officers. They didn't know what hit them. Mason tapped his helmet. "They're blind. Their sensors are gone." Ridge, the tallest human, nodded. "And engines disabled." Vaylor stared at the humans in disbelief. For soldiers. For simple humans. And yet, they had trapped an entire alien fleet. How can 4 of you do this? Vaylor whispered. The leader tilted his head slightly as if studying Vaylor. You still don't understand humans. Then help me, Vaylor said quietly. Explain it to me. The human stepped closer. Humans don't win because of numbers. Or technology. Or strength. He held up his hand, showing 5 fingers. Humans win because 1. We adapt fast. 2. We learn faster. 3. We fight together. 4. We don't break. And 5. He lowered his hand slowly. We never enter a field without planning 10 steps ahead. A sudden noise interrupted the moment. A loud, metallic thud came from the crater. Then another. Then something climbed out. Vaylor stepped back, heart racing. Something moved inside the smoke. A large shadow rose, towering over the broken ground. The humans turned instantly, rifles up. The shape grew clearer. A massive war machine, Zyrak design, still functioning despite the orbital blast. Its metal limbs glowed red with overheated power. One of its mechanical eyes flickered. The machine scanned the field, locking onto the humans. Vaylor's fear returned. No, it survived the strike. The human leader didn't flinch. Get ready, he said to his team. It's not done yet. The robot's chest opened, revealing a pulse cannon charging with a violent hum. Vaylor's guards screamed, Commander, get down. But Vaylor didn't move. He couldn't take his eyes off the humans. For soldiers. No heavy armor. No backup. No fear. Ridge slammed a device into the ground. Mason shouted, Shield up. A transparent dome of blue energy erupted around the humans just as the robot fired. The cannon blast hit the shield and pushed against it like a burning star. The dome cracked. Hold it. Nova yelled. The human leader took aim at the robot's exposed power core. On my mark, he shouted. The shield cracked again. The blast grew stronger. The dome flickered. Vaylor watched, breath frozen. The leader fired. A single shot. Silent. Precise. It pierced the robot's core. The machine exploded in a blast of blue flames and metal shards. The shield dropped. Smoke spread over the field. The humans stood firm. Not shaking. Not injured. Not afraid. Vaylor finally understood why alien commanders went silent after meeting humans. Because humans didn't fight like soldiers. They fought like legends. The smoke from the destroyed war machine drifted across the battlefield like a dark fog. Bits of metal rained down softly, tapping against broken stone. The smell of burned circuits filled the air. Vaylor stood frozen, staring at the 4 humans framed by the fading blue shield. They looked almost unreal, like figures from an ancient story, standing unharmed in the center of chaos. Ridge lowered his rifle slowly. Mason brushed dust from his armor. Nova checked her energy levels calmly. The leader simply watched the crater where the machine had died, as if expecting something else to rise from it. Vaylor's 2 guards finally spoke, voices shaking. Commander, we cannot fight them. Vaylor did not answer. His mind felt heavy, spinning, struggling to understand what he had just seen. A Zyrak war machine, designed to crush armies, had fired a direct blast at a small group of humans. And the humans survived. Not by running. Not by hiding. Not by luck. They survived because they planned for it. Vaylor's voice was barely a whisper. You were expecting that machine. The human leader turned toward him. We expect everything. His calmness chilled Vaylor more than the explosion. Before Vaylor could speak, his wrist communicator beeped again, dozens of emergency signals flashing across the screen. His fleet was panicking, begging for orders, begging for help. Vaylor hesitated, then pressed the comm. This is Commander Vaylor. Stand by for. A human hand gently lowered his wrist. No, the leader said. Don't speak to them yet. Vaylor blinked in confusion. Why? Because if you tell them what happened here, the human said, your empire will erase you. Vaylor felt his stomach twist. He knew it was true. He had seen it before. Commanders who returned from human battles often disappeared within days. Executed. Silenced. Hidden. The human leader gestured for Vaylor to follow. Walk with me. There is more to understand. Vaylor glanced at his guards. They hesitated but followed behind. The humans led the group deeper into the ruins of an old abandoned base. Walls cracked. Floors scorched. Burned metal everywhere. Vaylor recognized the signs. This base had been attacked by multiple armies. But something about the place felt wrong. Too many burned spots. Too many broken weapons. Too many bodies had once been here. Vaylor whispered, "How many died here?" Nova answered quietly, "More than the archives admit." They reached a dark hall. Sunlight leaked through holes in the ceiling. The air smelled like dust, metal, and history. On the walls were old claw marks, deep and long. Vaylor shivered. What did this? Ridge ran his hand along one of the scars. "A war you don't know about," he said. The leader stopped in front of a large door made of reinforced steel. He tapped a code on a keypad. The door slid open with a low, metallic groan. Inside was a small command room, human-made but not recent. Old screens flickered. Maps covered the walls. Strange alien symbols were scratched across the floor. Vaylor stepped inside slowly. "What is this place?" The human leader spoke softly. "The reason your empire fears us." He walked toward a dusty console and wiped it clean. A cracked hologram projector flickered to life. It showed a map of several star systems. Systems Vaylor knew well. Each one was marked with a red symbol. Vaylor felt his heart pound. These are Zyrak systems." "Yes," the human said. "Systems your empire lost in wars you never recorded." Vaylor stared at him in disbelief. "That is impossible. Our archives." "Your archives lie," the human leader interrupted coldly. The map zoomed out. More systems appeared. Blue symbols now, human systems. Yellow ones, neutral systems. Vaylor realized something horrifying. The Zyrak Empire had fought humans before. Many times. And lost. His voice cracked. Why was this hidden? The human leader finally lifted his visor. A young, scarred face looked back at Vaylor. Cold eyes. Calm expression. "Because your leaders are more afraid of the truth than they are of humans." Vaylor stepped back, breath trembling. "You mean, my empire has been fighting you for years?" "No. Not fighting," the human said. "Testing. Studying. Pushing. Always trying to understand why they cannot beat us. But they never learn." Vaylor clenched his fists. "Is this why commanders disappear?" The human nodded. "They come back with knowledge. Dangerous knowledge. Knowledge that scares your rulers." Vaylor looked at the map again. Humans had been everywhere. Watching. Preparing. Surviving. But why? Vaylor whispered. "Why hide all of this? Why let us approach your borders again and again?" The human face hardened. "Because one day someone from your empire would stop asking how to defeat us." His voice lowered. "And start asking why you should." Vaylor froze. The human stepped closer around him, not in threat, but in truth. The leader spoke again. "Humans do not want this war. We never did. But every time your empire sees strength, they think it's a challenge. Every time we defend ourselves, they think it's a weakness. Every time we survive, they think it's luck." He leaned in slightly. "Your empire does not understand us. They think we win with anger." He shook his head. "No. We win with unity." The words hit Vaylor like a blade. Unity. Something the Zyrak Empire never had. Something their leaders feared. Something humans mastered. The ground shook suddenly. The building rumbled. Mason looked up sharply. Incoming dropships. Ridge rushed to the door. Zyrak forces. Hundreds. Vaylor panicked. "They will kill all of us." Nova checked her weapon calmly. "Only if we let them." The human leader lowered his visor. "Positions," he ordered. His squad obeyed instantly. Vaylor looked at him, desperate. "What do I do?" The leader paused, then said, "Choose." "Choose what?" Vaylor asked. The leader pointed toward the door. "Fight with your empire. Or fight with the truth." The rumbling grew louder. Engines. Troops. War. And Vaylor felt something he never felt before. A choice that could destroy everything he believed in. The unexpected war was no longer about humans versus aliens. It was about truth versus fear. And Vaylor had seconds to decide. The forest didn't let Vaylor rest. Every shadow felt alive. Every sound felt intelligent. The human team was gone, but their presence stayed like a cold hand on his back. Vaylor checked his scanners again, still broken, still useless. Whatever the humans were using, it was strong enough to blind even a galactic military-grade device. He decided to move deeper into the forest, hoping to find higher ground for a stronger signal. But after only 20 steps, he stopped. Something was wrong with the ground. The soil looked disturbed, not by weather, not by animals, but by something heavy dragging across it. Footprints, long marks, strange patterns. None of it matched human movement. Vaylor crouched and touched the soil. Still warm. Still recent. Something had been here minutes ago. And whatever it was, it wasn't human. A cold fear crawled into his chest. His mind raced. Did humans capture something? Or is something else out here hunting both of us? He remembered ancient alien warnings. If humans are on the battlefield, never assume you are alone. A sudden rustle cut through the air. Vaylor jumped back, weapon raised. But this time it wasn't a human. A creature, long and pale with metallic armor grown into its skin, crawled out from behind a fallen tree. Its eyes glowed faint yellow. Its mouth spread in a distorted smile. Vaylor recognized it instantly. A Vorith hound, a bioengineered predator used by alien warlords. These beasts hunted only one thing: soldiers. But why was it here? Why would the Vorith release one on a human battlefield? The hound lowered its head and sniffed the air. Then its eyes locked onto him. Vaylor froze. The hound growled low like it found prey, but also something else. Something it feared even more. Suddenly it snapped its head left, toward the deeper forest, eyes wide with terror. That alone terrified Vaylor. Vorith hounds never feared anything. Before he could react, the hound bolted away, running as fast as it could, tail tucked, body trembling. It wasn't running from him. It was running from something behind the trees. Vaylor slowly stepped back, breathing hard. Then he heard it. A slow, steady footstep. Too calm. Too controlled. A human. The voice came again, clear, close, and colder than before. Interesting, even the hound understood faster than you. Vaylor's blood froze. He didn't turn around this time. He stood still, shaking, trying to control his breath, trying not to provoke the unknown human behind him. What do you want? Vaylor whispered. The forest stayed quiet. Then the human answered. We don't want a war. The voice stepped closer. We want the truth. Vaylor's hands trembled around his weapon. Truth? What truth? His species had not attacked humans. They had not hunted them. They had avoided humans for decades. What truth? Vaylor managed to ask. The air shifted as the human circled behind him, slow, confident steps. A hunter enjoying the moment. The truth your archives hide, the human said softly. The reason every alien commander stops speaking after fighting us. The reason they resign, or disappear. Vaylor's heart pounded. Humans knew. They knew everything. The human stepped into his peripheral vision. Only a silhouette, dark against the trees. No face visible. No armor markings. Just presence, strong enough to crush his courage. Your species thinks we are a mystery, the human continued. But the real mystery is what you fear to admit. Vaylor swallowed hard. And what is that? The human leaned forward, whispering. That you still don't understand what we really are. A chill ran down Vaylor's spine. We aren't monsters, the human said. We aren't demons. He paused. We are simply better. Vaylor finally turned, unable to hold in his fear. But the human was already gone. Only the faint echo of his voice lingered. The unexpected war is coming, Vaylor. And you've already chosen your side. The forest went silent. But this time, it wasn't peaceful. It was the silence of something watching him from every direction. Something human. Something dangerous. Something waiting. Vaylor stood alone in the forest, but it did not feel empty anymore. It felt crowded, filled with invisible eyes. The human's last words echoed inside his head. You've already chosen your side. What did that mean? He hadn't chosen anything. He didn't even understand the situation. Vaylor forced himself to move. Standing still felt like waiting to die. His instincts told him. Live. Return to the ship. Escape. But another voice inside him said something different. Learn the truth. Find out why humans are feared. Find out what the archives are hiding. So instead of turning back, Vaylor followed the path deeper into the forest, toward the direction where the Vorith hound had run from. The deeper he walked, the darker it became. Sunlight vanished behind thick trees. Silence grew heavier. Even the wind felt like it was watching him. After several minutes he noticed something strange. The trees ahead formed a perfect circle, unnaturally even, almost like someone had shaped the forest by hand. At the center of that circle was metal. Vaylor crouched behind a fallen log and stared. A structure stood there, small, dark, sharp-edged, blending with the trees. It didn't look alien. It didn't look natural. It looked human. A forward camp. But not like any human camp the archives had pictured. Everything was silent. No lights. No voices. No movement. It felt abandoned. But Vaylor didn't trust that feeling. Humans were too clever, too precise for sloppy mistakes. He scanned the camp from a distance. Still nothing. No heat traces. No motion. No life signals. Which was impossible, because he could still feel eyes on him. Vaylor took a slow breath and stepped out from behind the log. His heart beat faster with every step. He reached the first metal panel of the structure. His claws brushed the surface. It was warm. Not warm from the sun. Warm from use. Someone had touched it recently. He looked around again, feeling more exposed than ever. The forest watched him in complete silence. He found a door, thin, flat, seamless. No visible lock. He pressed his hand to it. Nothing happened. He tried again. Still nothing. Click. The door opened by itself. Vaylor flinched back, aiming his weapon at the dark interior. For a long moment nothing moved. Then a screen flickered to life inside, soft blue light shining in the dark room. Vaylor stepped in slowly, ready for an attack. But what he saw inside changed everything. The screen was playing a video. Not alien-made. Human-made. It showed an alien commander, a species Vaylor recognized. A general known for his bravery. In the video, the general sat in a chair, sweating, shaking, eyes wide with fear. He kept repeating the same words. They aren't soldiers, they aren't soldiers. There's something else, we awakened something. The video ended with a sudden cut. Another video began. Another alien commander. Different species. Same terror. My army was ready. We were stronger. We had better tech. But they don't break. They don't stop. They don't fear death, they chase it. Cut. Another. Dozens of broken commanders. Some crying. Some silent. Some staring with blank, empty eyes. Vaylor felt his legs weaken. This was the truth aliens never spoke of. This was why alien leaders resigned. This was why they refused to report. They were traumatized. Fighting humans didn't destroy armies. It destroyed commanders. Vaylor stood frozen as the screen changed again, this time showing footage from a battlefield. Humans moving through smoke. Silent. Precise. Deadly. But that wasn't what scared Vaylor. What scared him was their eyes. Cold. Sharp. Focused. Like predators born for war. Then the screen went black. A new message appeared. Turn around. Vaylor's breath caught. His claws tightened around his weapon. He slowly turned. A human soldier stood in the doorway. Helmet on. Visor dark. Armor scratched from battle. But the human wasn't aiming a gun. He was holding a small data chip between two fingers. Now you understand, the human said calmly. Our fight isn't with your people. Unless your people force it. He tossed the chip to Vaylor. Vaylor caught it with shaking hands. What is this? He whispered. The human stepped closer, voice low and steady. A choice. Vaylor backed up instinctively. A choice for what? The human leaned in slightly. For the war that's coming. The war your leaders already know about. The war you were never supposed to discover. Vaylor's throat tightened. What war? The human paused. Then answered. The one we didn't start. But the one we're going to finish. The lights in the camp flickered. The human soldier faded into the shadows like he was never there. Vaylor stood in the middle of the silent room, holding the chip, trembling. Outside, the forest stayed dark. But something new had awakened. The truth. A threat. A war. And Vaylor had just stepped into the center of it.